Hey, Ben Jacobson here. So glad that you've decided to check this out. I thought it'd be appropriate to actually start this video with a couple confessions. Confession number one, I have no idea what my kids are doing right now. They were doing art. That was 5, 10 minutes ago. That was probably about 45 different takes ago, which leads into confession number two. I have probably started this video no less than 60 times. Confession number three is I put on this shirt just so I can make this video. And confession number four, which will become apparent as we go. This is the first video I've ever done like this. Wanted to do it for a long time, but I feel like we're at the point where I needed to get over my fear. And also, the message that I have is important enough that it's worth putting myself out there, probably not doing it perfectly. Actually, definitely not doing it perfectly. So I appreciate your grace as I check up my notes. But this video is for anybody that's planning an event in 2020, especially if you're planning an event before July of 2020. You're asking some really big questions. You're asking some really hard questions. Probably the biggest question you're asking right now is, what do I do now? Should I cancel my event? Should I postpone it? What do I tell my attendees? These are really big questions that you have to ask, questions that I've been asking for the events that I plan. And we wanted to walk you through that process and be a guide, and so that you don't have to feel like you need to do it alone. And so, if you told me 3 weeks ago that I would have canceled close to a dozen different events, six of those being ones that I was planning or ones that I was going to be attending, I would have told you that you're crazy. Like, this is a really interesting time that we found ourselves in, but it's something that we can tackle together, and we are going to come out stronger. We are going to be able to recover some of that money. So that's something that we've done with our clients. We've actually helped our clients save close to $245,000 with the events that they plan. So we were able to recover or get that money back or use it for a different time, $245,000. And so we've applied these four actions to help them do that. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be helping you walk through the four actions that you need to take right now. If you have an event in 2020, these are the four actions that you need to take. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to jump into it. So action number one that we wanted to make sure that we do is breathe. We need to take a minute to breathe. This all came on super, super fast. We did not anticipate this happening. And so we need to take the time to breathe and just kind of slow down. Commander Denver Rourke says, calm is contagious. He also said that a bunch of other things are contagious too. He said stupidity, panic, fear. Fear and panic are probably more contagious than the coronavirus, than COVID-19. I mean, that's where we're at right now. And so if you can be that calming presence for your team, for your group, for yourself, as you're considering these difficult choices and trying to figure out, what do we do now? So critical action number one is you just have to breathe. Remember, calm is contagious. We're going to get through this. Critical action number two is you have to make sure that you gather critical information. Data and information is power. Especially in these times, you have to make sure that you have good information to make those big decisions with. You have to consider the source, especially when you're looking at information on COVID and some of those things. Trust the CDC, trust WHO, probably more than Aunt Marie on Facebook. Like, that's her opinion, and she's welcome to have it. And she makes great Jell-O at Thanksgiving, but she's probably not as good as the CDC. So make sure you're knowing where that information is coming from. Another big piece of information that you need to make sure you're getting from the right source and making sure that you understand it is your contract. If you have an event, especially before July, but even an event in 2020, you should really be pulling up all of your contracts and looking at the terms. And so I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of walk through some of those big clauses that you should be looking at, because the understanding of these clauses is how we got $245,000 for our clients back. We had to look at these things, we had to understand them and know what to do. It helped us make decisions, and that's where information is power. And so I'm going to list out the different clauses that you should check out, and then also kind of briefly explain those. I am no lawyer. And so this is not official legal advice or whatever I have to say so that I don't get sued. But I did want to help you through this. So the first big clause that you should be looking at is force majeure. If there's anything good that came out of COVID is that I had to learn how to say that. I probably still said it wrong. But force majeure is an unforeseeable circumstance that prevents someone from fulfilling a contract. And so in some cases, some of the things that are happening right now could fall into that category. So it's something worth reading and looking deeper into. Another term is impossibility. That's in some of your contracts. If you have a contract with a vendor, a caterer, a venue, a hotel, some of them have an impossibility clause in the contract. And that would just mean that if it's impossible to fulfill the contract, if there's a ban of 50 people or more and you have an event of 250, it's impossible for you to hold your event. Therefore, that contract you'll be able to get out. You should be looking at the rebook or reschedule clause. That's something that you should pay specific attention to. See what that says, see what your options are, see if it's listed out. Food and beverage minimum and minimum spend. This is another clause that you should really be checking out if you have a contract, if you have an event in 2020. Check out the minimum spend, and because sometimes you may actually be planning on spending more money, but the only amount that you're committed to spend, in some cases, according to your contract, is that food and beverage minimum. And then you need to understand your deposits and your deposit schedules. A lot of times there's clear terms, what you can get back and what you can't, and what that looks like. So check out the deposit schedule, and then cancellation. That's that term that you're going to be reading really closely and checking out. And so cancellation, that's really, really important. There's also usually specific time frames for a lot of these different things, whether it's deposits, rebook, reschedule, cancellation. There's certain times that are really critical. One of those is 6 months. So 6 months or 90 days, those are some typical cutoffs. And then a big one that you might be, if your event's coming up closer, is 30 days. And so understanding what time frame you're in right now is really important to making sure that you can make an informed decision. Dig into those time frames. Go ahead and pull out your reading glasses and comb through that 0.4 font at the very, very last page of your contract. That's where you're going to find all these terms. Go ahead and dig into that. If you have a lot of money at stake, you can totally talk to a lawyer, talk to your in-house counsel or something like that. I don't feel like most of us have that luxury. And so we'll talk about it a little bit later, but we'd be happy to check out some of those terms for you and see how we can help. Critical action number 3 is concurrent planning. Concurrent planning is this concept of basically planning 2 plans at the same time, or maybe 3 or even 4. That's really what we're going to have to do at this point. If you have an event, say you have an event in June, you're probably going to have 1 to 3 plans that you're working on at the exact same time. Plan number 1 could be, we're going to plan this event like it's going to happen. It's going to happen in June with no interruption. And so you don't want to get behind on key things. You don't want to just not plan your content or wait. Plan number 2 that you might be planning at the exact same time is, what if we cancel completely? You might be considering that, looking at your terms, looking at your options. What if we cancel completely? And then plan number 3 that you might be working on is, what if we reschedule? So what if it goes on as planned? What if we cancel? What if we reschedule? These are the 3 things that you kind of plan at the same time so that you're prepared for either one. Knowledge is power. And just because you're considering these options doesn't mean that you have to do them. You want to have a couple plans, a couple irons in the fire to make sure that this is working. This is something that we walked one of our clients through just last week. About a week and a half ago, we found that it was probably not going to happen. Our event was probably not going to take place. And instead of instantly canceling, we took the time to dive into our cancellation terms, took the time to explore it and kind of see what other cities were doing and see how things were progressing. And we decided to wait. We found out that if we waited for 3 more weeks, we would not owe any more money. The financial decision was going to be the same regardless of if we made that a week and a half ago or if we waited another week and a half. And what ended up happening is the governor ended up banning events of 50 or more, and our event of 250 people was not able to take place. And so, since we decided to understand our information, plan concurrently, we were able to recover $80,000. We would have lost that if we would have canceled a week and a half ago. And so that's why this stuff is so important. Understanding those terms and understanding how to do that process. And that kind of leads us into point number 4. Point number 4 is slow down and seek advice. This goes hand in hand with point number 1, which was breathe. We have to slow down. We have to seek advice from other people who've been through this before, people who are walking through that exact same thing, people you trust, and experts. Go ahead and reach out to experts, especially in these situations where there's a lot of zeros associated with these decisions. And so I really do want to encourage you to reach out to those people. And if you implement these 4 critical actions, you're going to be better for it. It's going to provide you the opportunity to possibly recover some of that money and make some of those hard and difficult decisions with more confidence. So I want to take one quick minute and just review these 4 pieces together. Critical action number 1 is to breathe. Critical action number 2 is gather critical information. Critical action number 3 is to use concurrent planning. And critical action number 4, slow down and seek advice. And I really am so sorry that you're in this position, that you have an event that you are working towards, that you were super excited to plan and put together, and to have it stopped instantly. I've talked to 2 people planning weddings. It sucks. Like, it really, really sucks. And I'm so sorry that you're here, but I know that we can get this together. If we implement these 4 things, it's really, really going to be helpful. And if you find yourself needing to make this difficult decision, please reach out to me. We've walked over a dozen people through this, and we'd love to help you if that's something that would be helpful for you. I have to be honest, this was not a service that I was super excited about putting on my list of services. Event cancellation is not that fun. I love planning events so much more than I love canceling, but I really want to help you guys get to a good spot, help you know what decisions to make, and hopefully save some money. And so one of the things that I'm doing right now, because there's a lot of people that are in tough spots, is it's this idea of, or it's a free 30-minute event triage. Some of you, your event is in a critical condition, right? You have to make some big decisions, hard decisions. Maybe you're even considering amputation, right? Or cancellation or something like that. And so we're going to do a free 30-minute triage. Reach out to us. As we have availability, we'll put that on the schedule, and we'll connect and see how things are going, see if there's any way that we can help you make some of those difficult decisions. And so if that's you, if you're someone planning an event in 2020, wondering what do I do now, please reach out to us. You can email me, ben@jacobsonevents.com, or www.jacobsonevents.com/COVID-19. We're putting out articles, we're sharing things that we're learning. We're going to put this and other videos that we are putting together for this up there on that site. So check that out as you go, jacobsonevents/COVID-19. That's where you can find a lot of these resources. So thank you so much for taking the time. Please reach out. I want to help you. I want to help you recover money and help you make that really, really hard decision that you are with confidence. So have a great day. We'll talk soon.